up, YouTube streets? This is Kiki Speaks here with another review for Summer House Martha's Vineyard Season 2, Episode 8. Now, this episode begins where we left off. This episode begins where we left off with Lux on the Bluffs and Bree and Simon arguing upstairs. Simon decided to interrupt the party with his damn blow-up flamingo costume, annoying the hell out of the viewers and Bria and partygoers. Bria breaks up with Simon and wants him out since he's being disrespectful. She's like, she's not doing this anymore. She's like, pack your shit and go. And he's just sitting there or standing there or nonchalantly because he's so drunk. He just doesn't care right now at this point. So he's not even all the way there to comprehend what Bria is trying to say to him. She wants him out, but he's not leaving. Summer and Jasmine and Jordan's friend, I believe her name was Chloe or Cleo. They're all upstairs in Summer's room talking about being sober. Summer reveals to Jasmine that she decided to stay sober for the night, and Jasmine was like, good, now you get to see how it feels me being sober and watching all of y'all drink, basically, right? And Summer's just basically trying to heal her relationships with a sober mind. She has a lot going on with the situation with her Nana and with her mom as well, trying to make a better relationship with her mom and also build better relationship with her friends. So she's just trying to figure that whole thing out, and alcohol was just not doing it for her. It was only bringing more problems when she would drink. So while they're upstairs, drunk as Amir and Bria sit down and talk about her relationship with Simon. And I don't know why Amir thought he would be a good candidate to give relationship advice, especially when him and Natalie doesn't seem like they have the best kind of relationship. It seems a little bit immature, just the same as Bria and Simon, if you really think about it. Because if you got to play guessing games to figure out why people are upset with you or what's their issue with you, then should you be really giving advice? I mean, yeah, he said that they have their ups and downs, just like every couples do, but it's different, right? Anyway, while Bria is crying over her relationship with Simon, which she believes her relationship with Simon is everything to her, Simon is looking for some sugar. He in the kitchen looking for some sugar, and nobody's answering him. He seems to be immune to Bria's outbursts at this point, right? But Simon eventually joins them on I guess it was on the couch or a chair or something like that. And Amir is just trying to help them resolve their relationship issues as if he's a relationship expert. And we all know that he is not. And he is very drunk. He gave me some humor in this scene as he's trying to, help Bria and Simon out with their relationship and let them know that, they're for each other and they care about each other, so they shouldn't let these things get to them to the point where they want to break up. But anyway, Amir needs to find his girl and stop her from constantly playing bone collector and running her mouth. I think he needs to be worried about that instead of worry about what Bria and Simon got going on at this point, right? Bria goes upstairs and packs Simon's things and calls her mom in the midst of doing so. And it seems like she's officially done because that's what she's telling her mom. But her mom is just like, calm down. Don't pack his stuff. Don't throw him out. Like, try to be a little bit more accommodating for him, because especially since he came all the way from Germany to visit you here, right? And Bria she don't care, but her mom is able to calm her down. And basically, I believe like once they sober up and they get through the rest of the night, they need to have a real life sit down and see what the real issue is between them. And, figure out if it makes sense for them to move forward, right? That's the logical thing to do, but let's see if it actually happens. The next morning, we wake up to another trashy ass house scene. And again, what I believe, all hands on deck. Let's all get together and clean this up because this is just nasty. It's nasty. It's crazy. It's pizza boxes everywhere, glasses everywhere, have eaten food everywhere. It's just a mess in that house. And of course, Preston is typically one of the first people who always get up in the morning and start to clean up. So Preston and Donald are cleaning. Noelle and Shanice are talking. Nick is checking on his bed to see if Shanice threw up in it, and also how Shanice slept as well, because she was pretty drunk, and the night before he left her with some ginger ale, told her that, if she needed him, just send him a text and, he'll be right down to help her with whatever she needs, which was very nice of him. Nobody else was able to do that. And Nick always comes off as if he's a stand-up guy, and it's kind of sad when you think about it, the way that they kind of eventually do him in this episode, right? But anyway, we'll get to that, right? Then we see Bria and Noelle go outside on the hammock to hang out, right? Natalie then joins them, and Shanice joins in as well. Nick, of all people, peeps it and brings it to hungover Amir's attention, and this is where the bullshit begins to take place, right? Bria lets it be known that she wasn't okay with Simon's actions the night before and needed to talk to him on a more serious level about how she feels about the whole thing. I don't think it was just about the night before, but it just plays a part into her ultimate issue when it comes to Simon. He doesn't listen to her, and we are going to get to that and go into a little bit more detail with that later on as well. She wants to set boundaries with Simon, and she wants him to be able to respect her boundaries. So she's definitely going to have a conversation with him later about that. For somebody who says that they don't dig some of the vibes, she made a point of saying she didn't mean the girls, but she doesn't dig the behavior, I guess, of the girls that were taking place the day that she came, right? For somebody who said that, she is on a completely different page now, because she is looking mighty comfortable outside talking to them, right? As she's talking, she's, she kind of comes in a little bit with like some stuff about Amir, how he was testing his limits the night before, or whatever the case is. I believe she was talking about him drinking and overly drinking. He was testing his limits, thinking he can hang with everybody, especially Preston, who just wakes up like as if he's never had a drink in his life. Meanwhile, Amir is hung over a toilet somewhere, right? So she brought that up, but I think it was a leeway to reel the girls in a little bit so they'll feel more comfortable having other conversations around her. Then she goes into how Tasia was waiting in bed for Nick last night while Nick was still dancing and trying to get into some things. Now, what does she mean by that? That could go many different ways, but it obviously, to us the viewers and to the girls there, pointed to a specific way of like he was trying to get into some things, maybe like, flirt around with other girls or whatever the case is. And she dropped that, and Bria picked it right up with no hesitation and starts going into how Nick is a flirt and he's very handsy, and that if it came down to it and some girl wanted to hook up with Nick in the state of him, drinking or whatever the case is, or being loose in that case, that she believes that he would do it. He won't hesitate to link up with another girl if it was presented to him, right? And then they go into how Nick has been handsy in the way he's been supposedly acting with the girls in the house. He's being handsy and flirty, and she goes on to tell Natalie, because obviously Shanice and Noelle are already aware of what's going on, right? Or what's been said from Jordan and Summer. how no one knew Nick and Tasia were even together last year until a week before Tasia arrived at the house. And Bria had no problem going up to Tasia when she arrived at the house last year, telling her that, we didn't know really anything about you until like maybe a week ago or a few days ago. I believe she said a week ago. Letting Tasia know that Nick didn't tell anybody he had a girlfriend. He was going around flirting with all the girls and up in the girls' DMs talking about you're going to be wifey and this and this and that, right? So Bria goes into more detail about how Nick has been all touchy-feely and flirtatious with Jordan and Summer. They bring up a picture of Nick at the Freaknik party with Summer and Noel, and his placement of his arms are brought up. Noel said that if she was in a relationship, she wouldn't like it if her man hung his arms over a girl's, boob and placed his hand on the girl's hip or whatever the case is, because it's inappropriate, right? And then, we see the picture with Nick doing just that when it came to hanging his arm over Noel's and is touching Noel's boob and having his hand on, I believe, Summer's side. And I mean, I don't feel like, would I want my dude doing that? No. But do I feel like it was intentional to cop some feels? I don't think it was that. I think, everybody was hanging out, drinking, everybody, taking pictures. You're not overly concerned about it. But at the same time, Noel, if you feel uncomfortable with him doing that to you, knowing that he has a girlfriend, why didn't you speak up at that point in time and tell him, like, listen, just fix your arm or bring it over here or whatever the case is. Like, reposition yourself to not make it seem like he was trying to, cop feels from you. But that's not the case. Instead, nobody was concerned about that at the time. But once they thought about it, they like, nah, that's not cool for him to be doing that because he has a girlfriend. But nobody said that to him. Nobody brought it to his attention that, this looks kind of crazy, this picture, whatever the case is. Nobody said that to him, right? And I feel like as a woman, if you think it's inappropriate, just say something. But that wasn't the case. It wasn't the case. Then Natalie says she can bring it up to Nick or bring it up to Tasia about Nick's behavior with the other women in the house. Further lets me know that this girl is everything she claimed not to be and everything Amir made us aware that she is. What do I mean by that? Natalie is jealous. And with jealousy comes insecurity. And with insecurity comes some messy bullshit most of the time. There is no need for her to go run back anyone else's information. Like, it doesn't make any sense for her to do that. It doesn't have anything to do with her, but she just wants to cause some mess. She wants to make some division. Or maybe she even wants to try to get on next season. Who knows, right? If she's able to divide them, the girls or the entire house, she'll be able to dictate more without trying to who and where Amir is, in my honest opinion. Right? Messy Natalie is being overly messy, and it's all for the benefit of her. If you really think about it, right? She isn't aware or does not have the wherewithal to understand the bullshit she is continuing on with. Like, girl, if they're not talking about your man, then there is no reason that you should be running any kind of information back to anybody, because you're just adding yourself to the mess, or you're making mess. But yeah, she on some bullshit. You should have never, and I'm talking about Bria, Shanice, and Noel. Shanice really didn't say too much. Noel didn't say anything crazy either. It was Bria who was running her mouth endlessly. She ran her mouth so much that she made this girl feel comfortable in the space to say whatever she wanted to say, and she made her comfortable enough to feel like she she should run that information back to Tasia, which is not the case, because not for nothing, if you really think about it, that situation between Jordan, Summer, and Nick had nothing to do with any of them. They shouldn't have been running their mouth about any of that, right? And who's to say that Nick hasn't already had that conversation with Tasia, that he had a conversation with Jordan and Summer about him being handsy to begin with? Like, not for nothing, nobody don't want to sit up here and listen to people. Every time I come here, somebody has something to say about my man. Like, it's crazy. But anywho, Natalie, good Lord, this girl should have sat this whole season out, in my opinion. She should have sat this whole season out, because I'm sure her ass is getting lit up if she stepped foot in that reunion. She's already getting lit up on social media. I was on Twitter today and I saw people making comments and reviews about the episode, and people were going in. Somebody called her bitty bitty bum bum. Like, I ain't it was funny, but because I love Selena. She don't look nothing like Selena to me, but yeah, like, it was, people are going in on old girl on the internet, all up and through Beyonce's internet, right? And if Amir and Natalie are still together, don't bring Amir back next season, because if in turn we'll see her, and nobody don't got time for this girl. It's annoying. She's annoying. The girls, meaning Bria, Shanice, and Noel, should have canceled whatever Natalie was talking about, because it was barely their business to tell. True story. Natalie decides she wants to go and tell Amir about what was being talked about between her, Bria, Shanice, and Noel outside about Nick and Tasia. And she made it seem like they asked her, or at least in my opinion, she made it seem like they asked her to tell Tasia what was going on with Nick in the house with the other girls. And that's not true. That's not true. Versus she is offering, she said it in a sense that they asked her, versus her offering her unnecessary services to do so. Like, girl, please. At that point, Amir, you should have stopped your girlfriend and told her not to be in other people's business. It's not her place to go to Tasia and tell her about anything. But Amir is so afraid of upsetting this messy ass Natalie that this is the fuck shit we about to get right now. This is what we gonna have to sit and watch, right? The fuck shit, because that's exactly what it is. Everyone goes on a bike ride to the lighthouse except Preston, Donald, Simon, and Bria. They stay at the house. Nick and Tasia, they got dressed up so they could meet everybody for brunch. They're not going on a bike ride because Tasia didn't bring the appropriate clothes to ride a bike on the fault of Nick, because he didn't make her aware of it. But anyway, they get dressed up and they go to the lunch spot to wait for everybody to arrive there. Bria and Simon talk, and this is where we get to the real issue between Bria and Simon, right? Simon says he's sad because Bria was just so quick to end things between them over him just having fun. Bria tells Simon that he was being very disrespectful, which he was, when he came out with that damn flamingo costume. She explains to him the importance of Nick's party and how it was in dedication to his line brother who recently had passed away. Simon bringing out that flamingo costume was not only embarrassing, but it was insensitive. And it truly was, because not for nothing, it's a time and place for everything. And that was not the time nor the place to act a whole complete ass or do what we assume you typically would do at a party, right? Simon then goes into how Bria behaved badly at his watchroom event by leaving or going to sit in the car because she had an issue with some people who were there. She let it be known that people were being racist to her and disrespectful, and Simon made it seem like she was the one with the problem because she didn't want to sit there amongst them. Major issue and major red flag. She says Simon is blind to racism because he's white, and I 100% believe that. That because this is not happening to you, that you're going to act like it's not happening at all. People who never had to experience disrespect or worse because of the color of their skin do not understand. And it will take for something to I don't want to say happen. It would take for something to either happen to the person that they care about, or something, to happen to them. I'm not saying something crazy or anything like that, but it would take for somebody to be somewhat racist towards them in order for them to understand. And there's hardly a time where, we see a white person in a similar situation as a black person when it comes to race. At least in, where I'm from, is not really like that. People mainly just are racist towards, black and brown people. You rarely ever see, can you even be racist towards white people? I don't know. That's a question. And I'm not dumb, but sometimes you gotta think about that kind of stuff, right? Anyway, where was I in my notes? Bria even went as far as saying that she's experienced racism from at the hands of Simon's own family members. Now that shit was crazy, because you let your family disrespect the person that you claim to love so much and want to be with. I find that very strange, and I find it very odd. Like, you would just let that happen. And there has not been a time where Simon has protected her. That is a major issue in your relationship in particular, because it's a white man and a, dark-skinned black woman. That's a major issue. If you're not feeling protected in that relationship, that's a major issue. Simon plays blind to it or sees Bria as the issue. That's rough. I'm not going to lie. After Bria goes down the list of times she was insulted, offended, and even physically assaulted at a club, and Simon pretended like he didn't see it, and Bria had to basically push the girl back to defend herself. Like, it was crazy. And he still said that, looked at Bria as if she was the problem, because he said that she blows up all the time and she was blowing up at the moment. That's besides the fucking point. I'm in full agreement with Bria. Simon does not listen to her. He doesn't listen to her. He's sitting there and she's telling him, and she's going into detail about events where she felt extremely uncomfortable, and he's either making an excuse as to, why it was the way why she felt uncomfortable, and he's kind of like blaming her for her being uncomfortable or for these people not liking her. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's kind of weird. I thought that was very weird, and I think they're both blind, to be honest. Simon is blind to the racism that took place. He doesn't want to see it. At the same time, by him ignoring what Bria was going through when she was in Germany, Bria is ignoring that he is not listening to her and that something needs to be done. She thinks having a talk about it and them agreeing to, move on from the situation, everything's gonna be all gravy. He's not taking any accountability for what he is choosing not to see. He's not even being empathetic to the point that she had to go through those things. Like, she had to endure those uncomfortable ass places in those spots, and those uncomfortable ass, disrespectful ass, rude people, racist people. He's not even being empathetic to that. He just wants to move on. He wants to dead the conversation and act like it didn't happen. And the more you continue like it didn't happen, the more of an issue is going to be. It's going to keep on presenting itself to you guys until something is actually done about it. Either you break up or it finally gets through his head that this is the stuff that you have to deal with, and he has to be aware of it, and he has to take you into full consideration. That's my point of that. They're both blind. She's not willing to see that he's not going to listen to her, and he's not willing to see that it's not always her making an issue or making things bigger than it needs to be, because that's what it seemed like. She just making things bigger than what it needs to be. People are not really, being mean to her or being racist to her. Like, that shit is crazy, and I will not be able to deal with that at all. He just wants to move on, and sadly Bria is going to do it. She's going to abide by it, because she says that he forgives her when she acts out. I'm sure there are a lot of times where Bria acts out, but at the same time, when you're sitting down talking to him about a serious situation like racism, and he is not taking that in the way that he needs to take it in, that whole relationship is not going to work. That's not going to work. And maybe the reason, I think I'm starting to see a pattern here when it comes to Bria. Maybe the reason she acts and throws tantrums and needs so much attention is because she never has, she's never gotten the support, the real support that she needs, from the people closest to her. She doesn't feel important enough to people she should feel important to. Bria, this isn't none of my business. It really isn't, but I'm reviewing this right now. So, yeah. But I'm going to say it anyway. That man does not care about what you go through to be with him. He don't. He doesn't respect you enough as the woman he loves or the woman he cares about to have your back the way you would like for him to. He is never going to understand. He's never going to understand it when he's choosing, actually choosing to make you the issue in every situation. Leave that man, because this is only going to get worse. And it's going to hurt more for you than it will for him if you stay in that relationship. I guarantee it. Anyway, everyone else goes to ride bikes except Tasia and Nick, who opt out of it due to Tasia not having anything to wear. Speaking of wearing, Jordan, you did so good last episode. You did real good, girl. But I'm upset, Jordan. I'm upset. Because you decided to wear that wig and that damn scarf. Why? You ain't even, I feel like you ain't even put the wig on right and brush it. You could have at least combed, oh girl, and then threw the scarf on. But you look all kinds of messed up. And I'm so sorry to say that to you, but girl, you look run through. And I'm not talking about in a nasty nature or anything like that, but that wig makes you look like you run through, girl. Please throw it away. Throw it away, please. We couldn't get something else. You could have even put that shortcut back on. God damn. Anyway, everyone meets up for lunch, and Amir is still feeling it from the night before. He's still hungover. They're telling him to drink some ginger ale, just like black people do. You break a bone, go drink some ginger ale. Your stomach hurt real bad, go drink some ginger ale. You got a fever, go drink some ginger ale. That's what black people do, because it's a cure. Then Natalie gets up and walks over to Tasia and asks her to speak with her. Now, before I get to that, why was Natalie petting on Tasia like she was a goddamn dog? Why she was doing all of this and then playing in her hair? I don't know, but you're not supposed to be playing in people's hair like that. I don't get that. She just doing all of that. Don't pet me. I'm not your animal. Girl, Move your hand. I think that's part of the reason why Tasia got a little irritated. I ain't gonna even lie. That was I think so. But anyway, Tasia goes on to say, okay, what about? Natalie says she wants to keep her in the loop and bring some things to her attention. Like, girl, whatever. Anyway, Tasia says, I'm about to leave. It's fine. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. I don't need to sit up here and do that. And it rubs Tasia the wrong way, so much so that she decides to leave to the airport just a little bit earlier. So Nick, I believe Nick, Preston, Donald, and Tasia leave because Donald is also leaving along with Tasia. Natalie goes and sit back down. She probably feels embarrassed because, yes. Anyway, they get in the car and Nick starts texting Natalie to see what was all about to be said, right? So Natalie goes and she runs over to Amir, who's still worried about where his Tums at, and show him the text that Nick excuse me, that Nick is sending over to her, and she responds, and Amir tells Natalie, just tell him what they said, basically, right? So Natalie starts texting Nick back, and she tells Nick that Bria, Shanice, and Noel said earlier what they said earlier that day. And the way Amir was trying to tell Natalie what to write back to make it seem like she had no parts of it was so annoying, bro. It was annoying as fuck because she became a part of it when she decided that she was gonna walk over to Tasia and tell her what they said. Like, she involved herself in that situation. She didn't need to be a part of that. They wasn't even gonna, Bria, Shanice, and Noel wasn't gonna even bring that up to anybody, let alone Tasia. Your girlfriend, Messy Natalie, was the one who offered to take that back over to Tasia. Talking about Tasia is her friend. Bitch, please. Anyway, I get that Amir wants to protect his girlfriend, but just like you should have said something about the Mariah situation prior to Mariah being kicked out the house, you should have let your girlfriend know earlier that day to stay out of it. And Natalie and Tasia are not that much of friends if Tasia didn't want to hear Messy ask Natalie out. Tasia didn't even text Natalie to see what was up, like what she needed to say, or to even let her know whatever he was about to say was making me feel uncomfortable. They ain't that cool. They not that cool. So Amir, shut up, please, forever. Everyone else is outside talking about partners and relationships. Noel and Alex are looking forward to eventually having significant others they can vacation with and just enjoy time together within spaces like these. It was a tiny, cute scene or whatever, right? After returning to the house, Nick lets it be known to Preston what Natalie said is being said from Bria, Shanice, and Noel, and how they mentioned him being handsy with them, right? It's obvious things got misconstrued somewhere because I don't believe none of them said that Nick was being handsy with them. I know I'm not mistaken. They said that Jordan and Summer had a conversation with Nick about him being handsy with them. It wasn't necessarily with Shanice, Bria, and Noel. So I don't know how Natalie got that misconstrued, but I think it's because she wants to create some mess and division, right? Anyway, once everyone else enters the house, some people disperse to change in or use the bathroom, and Nick addresses Noel first. And I felt kind of bad for her, but at the same time, let it be known. Like, you was talking about him in mixed company, and I'm gonna say it like that. He says to her that he knows she wants to feel included in everything, but he's never touched her. And Noelle clears up her part and told him she never said that he made her feel uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form, or anything like that. She was around when the conversation was being had, but she's never said that he was inappropriate with her in any way. At that moment, Noelle realizes that maybe not having that conversation amongst messy ass Natalie wasn't the best idea, because she just twist and turned this whole thing, and now they look like assholes completely, because they making this man out to be a whole entire creep. Anyway, she goes to get Shanice and Bria and tell them to come downstairs to the kitchen because Nick wants to address what was being said about him. Nick then turns his attention to Shanice. Shanice says her part and lets it be known that he's never gotten handsy with her either, but his eyes do wander. Now, I'm going to say this. Nick, knowing you're in a relationship, knowing Shanice likes getting butt ass naked all the time, like when she starts drinking a lot and stuff like that, and likes to twerk her butt in people's faces, you should be excusing yourself every time, right? But at the same time, Shanice, you've been disrespectful too, knowing he's in a relationship, sitting down next to him, getting naked, shaking your ass in his face right next to him, and on top of that, telling the whole entire party that you gonna fuck him. Jokingly, but saying it multiple times where everyone heard you at the Freaknik party. Like, let's think about it. Nick just wants everyone to speak to him if he's being inappropriate with anyone. And I feel him. Like, 100%. Like, if you feel like I'm doing something to you, come to me. Don't go around telling people a whole bunch of, bullshit about me, making it seem like this is what I do and this is how I am, but that's not how I am. Like, come to me and we'll just resolve it and clear it up. And I'm glad also that Alex spoke up for Nick too, because Alex was like, they've been putting Nick's name in a lot of shit, and it's not fair that they get to go around spreading stuff instead of just coming straight to him, so all of the stuff could be dead. Like, everybody there is adult. Everybody there knows how to talk. Like, why can't they just come to him and just have that conversation with him if he's making anyone feel uncomfortable, right? So, Bria... it does, before I get to Bria, it does make him look bad, but also Nick needs to be aware of things, and in times when moments where things are teetering on the line of disrespect and embarrassment towards his partner, just always remove yourself from those kind of situations so you don't have to explain shit later. Messy Natalie fesses up after Preston asks, well, whose idea was it to bring any of that back to Tasia? So Natalie fesses up and says, I'll admit that it was my idea. So everything just stops and they look at her like bitch, who the fuck are you to run that back? But she said it was because Tasia is her friend and she doesn't want her friend looking bad or anything like that. And then Amir, goofy ass, tries to help his girlfriend out, so he jumps in to save her because he knows what she did or was trying to do was messy as fuck. Talking about some girl code. Bria stands there and lies and says she wasn't talking about Nick. Bria, girl, Bria. Messy Natalie got at least 95% of her information from you. 95%. You, since that girl came, we done seen you in her room, or talking to her about some other bullshit that's going on within the house, and she getting all the information from you. Like, since she got here, you have been kikiing with her like there's no tomorrow. Like, I don't know. You ran your mouth to hell, Bria, when you were gossiping with this girl. Then she says she did say he gets flirty and loose when he drinks. They show clips of him being somewhat flirty with Bria. I'm not necessarily like, I don't want to say that he wasn't flirting at all, and I don't want to say that he was definitely flirting. It depends on what people, like, what your significant other view that as at the end of the day. Bria tries to show or throw Shanice back into it, but Nick like, nah. I already talked to her about that, That's done already. I'm talking about you. Now, what did you say? Like, what happened? Like, you saying now you throwing in flirty and loose? Like, that wasn't used before. Now, come on now, what's going on? Bria gets annoyed with Nick's tone, his tone, right? And starts to walk away, but Nick keeps going in trying to resolve whatever is being said about him and say his part, but Bria continues to dismiss him. So basically, when she starts to feel like she's not going to be able to victimize herself within this situation, because she was dead ass wrong for running her mouth about him to that girl Natalie, and not really knowing what this girl is about. Like, you don't know her like that. That's mixed company. You don't know her to be running your mouth the way that you were to her. Now look at the situation. Now she's caught up as well as you on some bullshit that didn't even need to go that far, because it had nothing to do with any of the people that were talking about it. He addressed the situation of him being handsy with Jordan and Summer already. It didn't need to be discussed. It didn't need to be dispersed amongst the group, the rest of the group. Like, that's crazy. They making him look crazy out here. I'm not gonna even hold you. I'm not gonna lie. They making him look crazy. But anyway, he's trying to talk to Bria, and instead she's dismissing him. She wants to walk away and end the conversation because she knows she's not gonna win in that conversation, because she was dead ass wrong for it. So it ends right there. The episode ends right there, and it says to be continued. So we'll basically pick up the tail end of that in the next episode. So with that being said, this is the end of my review. Please don't forget to like, share, comment. Please comment so I can be added to the algorithm of everything on YouTube, as some of you know, if you are new here and newly looking at my channel. And me, I am new on YouTube, so it will be very helpful if help us this out. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for watching my review. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Okay? Peace.